Hi guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. So today we're going to look at every cart and how I rank it from the worst to the best. And that's every cart, all 19, obviously not including the latest in television release because we don't really know all the games that are going to be on it yet. So I'm going to rank every cart that we've been released and the ones that are not quite released yet, but I've played all the games on them. So let's have a look. Let's start at number 19. So number 19 is the Technos cart. Now, I know this is going to be quite controversial to a lot of people, and I need to bear in mind everyone that owns an Evercade and has all these collections will have completely different opinions. So please respect, guys, that's just my opinion. Someone else may rate this as their top game, so I'm respectful of everyone else's opinions. This is just my own opinions. So Technos was sort of one of the earlier releases, but I'm really not very good at some of the games. I don't think some of the games are particularly great versions, and that's really why, like for instance, the NES version of, which one is it? Dodgeball's terrible, and it's awful. I mean, the arcade version's better. The Double Dragon's okay, but I don't really have a great love for a lot of the games. Even though I know a lot of people absolutely love the game, but I just find it really repetitive and dull to play. I did actually own the originals on the Commodore 64 as well. I have played the arcade version and it's slightly better than some of these, so sometimes it kind of makes you wonder why we don't have the arcade versions. There's so many different versions of this, but I'm not that keen. And it's not the worst, but I don't like the cart in general, it's just not for me. So guys, number 18 on the list is the Worms Collection. I know it's not actually been released yet, but I've played the games on it and I'm really not a fan of the Worms games at all. Never got into them on the Mega Drive or the PlayStation, not really a fan. I think that the type of games is best suited as a multiplayer style game, but I just don't like the games. Not really a fan. I will buy the collection, have got it pre-ordered, but not really a massive fan of the games, unfortunately. Okay, number 17 on the list is Interplay Collection 1. This is probably one of the first carts I actually played, even though it's got some good games like Incantation, which is a decent enough sort of platformer. Earthworm Jim, which is great, I guess, but I really don't like some of the other games. Bigger Man's not amazing. Clay Fighters, I don't like. Battle Chess is just dreadful. Titan's okay, I guess, but there's not a lot of games on this set. And there's a few games that are just not for me, which is why I've rated this quite low down the list. Earthworm Jim is definitely, obviously, a really decent game, but there's not enough quality for me on the actual cart, which is why I've got this quite low down. So next on the list is Atari Collection 1. Now, I'm glad some of these games are actually on here, but I'm not sure these games are the most amazing games. I think the problem I find is a lot of them have aged really badly. Obviously there's Food Fight, which is actually a really good game. I really quite like Food Fight. But I think as much as this game's fun, a lot of the games have aged so badly that it's difficult to rate them sort of higher. Like I say, this is actually a really good game. There's a lot of games on here that I just pass and haven't actually spent a lot of time with, unfortunately. There's a lot of decent games. I mean, there's a lot of games that are okay. Some of the games are quite just too hard. There's a lot of games you're really only going to play a couple of times and never play a game. There's some bizarre games like Ninja Golf. And some games, like I say, there's really not a lot of longevity. Then classic games, I'm absolutely chuffed they're on here. It's great to pick up and play, but I think some of them have dated quite badly, I think. So next on the list, we're at number 15, Atari Collection 2. And again, similar to the Atari Collection 1, there are some good games on here. Unfortunately, I think there's a lot of games that I'm really not going to play very often. It's good to play once or twice, but it's difficult to come back to. Like I say, unfortunately there is some great games on here, like Solaris. It's an absolutely amazing game, really loved it. But I don't think there's not enough games on here that I'm really going to spend a lot of quality time on, which is a shame. But we'll see. I think the games have dated quite badly. Good to have, definitely. So we're at number 14. On the list is the second Interplay cart, Interplay Collection 2, which is probably an improvement over the first one, but I think there's not enough games on it for me. There's again, it's more like they're trying to guess quality over quantity, but I don't think there's enough quality. Rad Gravity's quite cool, Brainy's quite a good puzzler, but I don't like Clay Fighters. I just don't think there's enough here to rate this cart any higher than it deserves to be. But say there's still some good games here. This is Rad Gravity, that's a little bit different. This was a NES game. It's this kind of a platformer game. But I think it might have been better if they perhaps put all these, the Interplay and Interplay 2 on the same cart. You may have rated these higher. That's quite a nice sort of colourful game, but it's like I say, there's just not enough depth, I think, or quality in all the games on the cart. Shame. Okay, number 13, we have Namco Collection 2. Now again, there's some really good games on here. Some classics. I'm not really a big fan of the Splatterhouse games. They're kind of dull and repetitive beat 'em ups, but a lot of people really love them, so I'm sorry if you do love them. Fair enough. Weapon Lord I just think is awful. Dig Dug 2, just a bit strange. Not really what you would expected from whoever playing this sequel. Dragon Spirit is quite good. Glag is a classic sort of sure, but yeah, I just don't think there's enough decent games on here to warrant it being higher. It's quantity, I guess, but I just don't think there's enough decency to put it any higher. Dragon Spirit is a good game. Again, this is sort of the NES version, which is actually quite good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but again, I think that, you know, seeing the arcade version, it's a better game, it's a better version, but anyway, moving on. On the list, and this is Namco Museum Collection 1. Again, there's some really nice games on here. Some games I'm not sure. Metal Marines I've never worked out how to actually play. Pac-Man. Again, this is I think it's the NES version, which is probably not the greatest version of the Pac-Man. It's okay. Quad Challenge is good fun. Star Luster's okay. Xevious is a decent enough shooter. But again, there's not enough quality. There's some really good classic games here. Like obviously really like Dig Dug and stuff, but I don't think some of the versions could be better. Even though they're playable, definitely playable, but it's difficult not to enjoy this. It's simple enough to play. Oh, I'm going to die right away. But yeah, I don't think there's enough here to warrant it being any higher. So at number 11 we have the Pico Collection 2, which isn't actually out yet. But I've played all the games that are going to be on the set, and it's pretty good. Not quite up there with the Collection 1, I don't think. I don't think there's enough quality, but there's a lot of really good games that need to be played. So the star of Pico 2 is the Soccer Kid game, which is on the front cover. It's a good game. It's quite sort of different and quirky, but yeah, it's not quite up there with the first cart, I don't think, for sheer quality and quantity. So I need to be careful. There's the collectibles as well. Oh, there's my ball. I need to go get it. You can see the sort of scrolling isn't particularly hot on the screen. Oops, I missed. It just can't keep up with itself. Definitely like these type of games. It's a top racer. Pun intended. Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. week. Okay, on to number 10, and it's probably the most recent games that were released. Atari Lynx Collection 1. There's quite a lot of games here, some really good ones too, like Crystal Mines 2 is really good. There's some games here that a lot of people like, some games are just not great, like Jimmy Connors is pretty awful, but there's some really good games here. I thought there was some decent games to get your teeth stuck into, and for me, I quite like getting sort of finding these games because I never had an Atari Lynx, so these collections, Atari Lynx 1 and 2, were a great find, and having it on the Evercade is brilliant. I mean, you can play games you never had the chance to actually play when they originally were released, which is really one of the things I like about the Evercade. See, Crystal Mines is probably my favourite game on this collection, but it does get very tricky. It's very Boulder Dash like, but it's very, very tough. So as you see, it's clearly Boulder Dash, go about collecting all the jewels and get to the exit. That's pretty much it, but it gets so difficult. And I think I'm only at about level 10 or 11 just now, and I'm practically stuck. But yeah, decent game, decent cart. So number 9 in the collection is the second Atari Lynx collection, which I think is a better collection. I know there's less games on the collection, but I think there's actually better quality. Checkered Flag's a decent game, Chip Challenge is an amazing game. Electro Cop's okay, Gates Seddon's alright, and Slime World, even though it's a bit weird, it's actually quite good. I quite like it. And this is a reasonably standard shooter. And Blue Lightning, which is an absolute top game. So yeah, it definitely, even though it's less games, I think there's more quality on this cart than the first cart. For sure. And this Blue Lightning is a top game. Even though the graphics are slightly blocky, I guess, but it's such a top game. It gets quite tricky as you get through the game, you're trying to avoid all the bombs, but wow, it's good fun. There's not really that many missions in it, it's not a huge game. It's a good game. I think I would definitely rate this as one of my top games on the Evercade. It's excellent. So number 8 on the list is the Data East Collection. There is a lot of decent quality games in here. I think Fighter's History is probably one of my top favourite games. John Mac's a decent enough platformer, Karate Champ's okay. Magical Short Drop is a great little puzzler. Midnight Resistance, just a classic. Side Pocket's great. Bad Dudes, unfortunately, I think Bad Dudes has got the wrong version on here. This NES version is not great. If this was the arcade version, it would be amazing. Some great games. Burger Time's obviously great fun. Again, not probably the greatest version, but there's so many great games here. This is number 8. Like, I think the first top 5 I done, Fighter's History was amongst the top 5. It's probably been put down the list slightly, but I think it's still an absolute amazing. It's probably the best beat 'em up. It's a one-on-one style beat 'em up anyway on the collection. Amazing little game. And it plays so well on the Evercade too. I'd say a lot of people probably don't rate this, but I think it's brilliant. Total Street Fighter style beat 'em up, and it works so well. Hopefully see more beat 'em ups like this. So I'm not the massive beat 'em up fan, but I do like this one. I think if you compare this to like Clay Fighters, for example, it's so much more playable. There's more moves. Yeah, love it. Okay, number 7 on the list is the Codemasters Collection 1, which isn't released yet, but I've played all the games recently. And even though there could probably be different ones, I think it's a good quality release. Back in the day, I used to play lots of Codemasters games, like CJ's Elephant Antics, amongst others. I say Codemasters always made such great games, and they were cheap. You could get them for £3 or £4 back in the day on the Commodore, Spectrum, whatnot. So hopefully we'll see, I guess, but Codemasters Collection 1, we're going to see another collection. I guess they could do 10 collections, the amount of games that they released back in the day. But top games, not sure this is the best collection or collected games that they've released, but it's still a top one. I'm really looking forward to actually playing on the Evercade proper. Oh, I put a little bit of curl into the back corner. Nice finish. So obviously you can put some curl in it after you've hit it by pressing left or right, whichever way you want to go. It's quite important if you want to maybe beat the more difficult teams by curling some crackers into the corner. Oh, too high. Ah! There's a guy sneaking there. Oh, there's guys down here, never even seen them. They try to sneak up behind me. I think this is going to be brilliant on the Evercade. Okay, number 6 on the list. And I was very tempted to put this higher on the list. But the fact there's only 2 games, even though they're both brilliant games, it's difficult to rate it higher than some other carts above the list that have got many games that are quality. But again, wow, these are 2 of the best games on the Evercade. I know you can get like Xenocrisis on other platforms. This is still one of the best games for sure. It's such a great little shooter, and it works so well. I like what they've done with how it works with the D-pad and the shooting aspect of it. Terrific, but it's so hard. It's so hard. And Tanglewood as well. What an amazing game that is. Great little cart, and this is it, number 6. So that takes us to top 5. So at number 5, it's not quite released yet, but the Jaleco Collection, or Jaleco Collection, which is not released yet, but it's going to be out April, and I think it's a great collection. And there's so many cracking games on there. EliteColeyBoy Connection, so you can fire at them and then knock them out of the way. Cool. Oh no! Thought I had so little control over that. Now, anyone that's played Xenocrisis recently will get those vibes. It seems like maybe Xenocrisis has been inspired with some of these games, along with Smash TV, obviously. But once you see, you'll understand what I mean. But I don't. That's one of the good things. I don't think this is quite as hard as Xenocrisis, which maybe makes it a little bit more fun to play. So same idea. You can shoot your way through the levels. Shoot your way through the bad guys. Sort of clear. It's definitely a little different to Xenocrisis. Maybe not as flashy in the graphics, but still really, really impressive. So this is a kind of unusual game where I guess you're a firefighter and you need to put out fires and save people, which is not your standard game. It's quite cool. I do like the style. I don't recall playing that many games that are you're a firefighter and you need to put out fires. You can see obviously I've got a health bar up the top. You need to be careful you don't get too close to the fire, pretty much as in real life, or you will burn. But yeah, cool little game, really like it. The Mega Cat Studios collection. Now I could have probably rated this higher, because I think for a while this probably was my favourite cart. And there's so many really cool little games, so it's really difficult to say if there's any poor games on here. Like Multi-Dude, great little puzzler, very tricky. Old Tower, the same style, sort of puzzler. Super Painter, which is brilliant, just wish there was more levels. Tanzer, which is probably, very arguably, the best game on the Evercade. And some good brawlers here, and obviously Coffee Crisis. A lot of people really love Coffee Crisis. I'm not one of them though, but it's still a good game, very stylish. I'm just not very good at it, so that's not really a reason to rate it poorly though. Even Logjammer, simple but terrific. But yeah, it's difficult to. I really could have had this higher, but it's an amazing little game. Tanzer just wow. Hard as though, but wow, a bit of practice you can sort of improve, get better. Unlike this, great game though, great cart. Okay, that takes us to number 3 on the list, and this is the Pico Collection 1. So this is probably the cart I played the most when I first got the Evercade. So many sort of quirky, cool little games I'd never played before. Decent beat 'em ups. There's a lot of variety on the cart. Some games are quite hard though. Some like games like Magic Girl, a hidden gem. I'd never heard of it, but wow, we were sitting playing and think this is terrific stuff. Why did I never hear of this before? It's such a colourful, bright, brilliant little shooter, and it makes the variety on this cart so cool. Platformers, shooters, puzzlers, brilliant. And again, I think the sort of style of this, it's very addictive. It's not the hardest of shooters, so for me that's great. I don't like a impossibly difficult shooter to play. But it's got a lot of different quirky titles on the cart. It's got Switchblade, which is probably one of the reasons I bought this cart to start with, to play Switchblade, which I absolutely loved. Such a brilliant little game. Great platformer. It's not the greatest looking, but I think it's amazing. I think this is probably the game I've played the most out of all the games on the cart. Switchblade. I always wanted to play this when I was in a Commodore 64 days, but never got the chance. But love it. Terrific game. Which takes us to number 2. So number 2 is the fairly recently released The Oliver Twins Collection. I've spent a lot of time in the last couple of months playing through these games, and I think that I'm totally loving it. And I was a big fan of Dizzy back in the day, and even more so now. I mean, even though these are mostly the NES versions, not all of them are great. Like I didn't like Fantastic Adventure of Dizzy, it's so hard. But apart from that, Firehawk's not decent, but I loved the rest of the games. I spent all of them to completion. Mystery World Dizzy was great. A lot of them are remakes of sort of the computer versions. Even Super Robin Hood is good, but it takes a little bit of getting used to the controls. Treasure Island Dizzy is amazing. Wonderland Dizzy is great fun. BMX Simulator is too hard, but I still have a soft spot for it since I remember it from the Commodore 64 days. Dizzy Adventure is great too. I think this is all round a great collection, and I'm probably biased because I really enjoyed the Dizzy games growing up, and I have fond recollection of playing these often. I say if you never played these, then either you're going to like them or you're going to hate them. But personally, I absolutely love them. Tricky, they can certainly tricky little games. You need to get your jumps right, you need to figure out the puzzles. Sometimes the puzzles are just extremely obscure. But what a great collection. Fingers crossed they maybe release another collection, because I think there's some other games that they probably could have had. So number 1 on the collection is not even released yet, the Indie Heroes Collection, which as of this video is getting released at the end of May. This one I'm so excited for because there's new games, not released games yet. There's games that are going to be seen for the first time on Evercade. Some games that are only just new. Games like Flea, there's Doodle Jump, Deptor. I could go on. I think every game, Alien Cat 2, that I could go on and on. Some amazing titles here which I'm really excited to play. I think this is potentially going to be the best cart yet. I've played all of the games apart from maybe a couple, but I'm so hyped for this game, this cart. I'm so hyped for this cart that I think it definitely deserves top spot. Maybe being a little bit biased here, but I think this is going to be an amazing cart. For me, this is what Evercade is all about. New games, new indie game, new old games that you can play for the first time and give it a platform. Again, obviously the only one I've got missing at the moment is the Intellivision Collection, which I don't know where it's going to rank in the top 19, 20 carts. Obviously, I don't really know what all the games are going to be yet, so that's going to be interesting. think I got it this time. Yeah, let's get rid of at least get rid of the spikes. That'll make things a bit easier. Right. I'm trying to watch two screens at once here. Right, I got it, yeah. Ooh. Oh, I can't do that. Do that either. Yeah. Let's get it. Yes, we have done it. Wow. What a great little game. Got all that blood. Oh, there's another one to collect. Never seen it sitting down there. Oh no, dear dear. Maybe I need to use a bomb for this guy. Yeah. Ah! One bomb, not good. Let's try and be smarter this time. Oh dear. Let's try and just beat him up. Oh my, so bad. How do I get up there? Ah! There's a double jump and I didn't know that. Wow, that could have made the level 1 even easier if I knew that. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video today. I'm sure you'll have your own top 3, top 5 carts that are probably totally different to my suggestions. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe and we'll catch you again soon. Bye for now.